So I was sitting there watching Dr. Stone, and I had this thought. I could be a scientist. So I came up with a scoring system for ranking video games and scored Zelda games using 5 categories: replayability, story, graphics, soundtrack, and gameplay. Let's see what came out on top. Now before you click off, I'm not saying these games do deserve or don't deserve the spot that they're in. It's just how they're ranked based off the scoring system. So without further ado, let's rank some legends. Coming in at number 10 with a score of 16 is Breath of the Wild. Now, don't click off yet, hear me out. Breath of the Wild scored the lowest of all the other games for replayability, as well as the soundtrack. The songs in the game are good, my problem is, there's not enough. Second, my condolences to whoever did just as my dumbass did, went around and collected 900 Korok seeds, hoping you would get something cool. Instead, Hestu decided that giving me his log of morning shit would suffice as a reward for my sacrifice. Piss off all the way, Hestu. Burn in hell. Coming in at number 9 with a score of 18 is Skyward Sword. Now, I like this game to a point, don't get me wrong. The characters, the soundtrack, and the story, great. But, you want to know what isn't? Looking like I'm trying to swat away a bee who wants my ice cream just trying to kill enemies. Even with the remake on the Switch, the controls feel unnatural, almost dirty. It's like watching a train wreck. You don't want to see that, but you don't have any other choice but to look. If Skyward had basic controls, I know it would have cracked the top 3. Alas, like Demise actually caring for Girahim. It didn't happen like that, people. Coming in at number 8 with a score of 20 is Oracle of Ages. I mean, what can I say about this game? The characters and the story are amazing. It's also one of the few entries in the series to not feature Ganon as the main boss. Unless you bought both games, beat Oracle of Ages, received the password at the end of the game, and then beat Seasons and used the said password or vice versa. But I mean, get real. It was 2001. You were lucky enough to get one game at Christmas time or your birthday, so forget getting 2. Great all-around game though, and it's in my personal top 5. Coming in at number 7, we have Twilight Princess, scoring a 20, just as Ages did. Twilight is the game you hear about non-stop. I mean, for real, go on Twitter, say something like, "Man, Ocarina of Time has some really cool enemies to fight." Wait about 20 minutes, and I promise you someone will hit you with, "Twilight did it better, lol." The most memorable aspect of Twilight for me, besides the damn wolf, is the soundtrack. Think about songs from the game. Okay, now I'm gonna guess either Hyrule Field popped in your head or Midna's Lament. I also have to give Twilight major respect for writing a good Death Mountain theme for the first time since '91. I mean, seriously, listen to Ocarina of Time or even Breath of the Wild. I know Gorons aren't the brightest, but does their theme have to make it sound like they have under 10 brain cells? I mean, damn, brother. Coming in at number 6, we have Phantom Hourglass. Nah, I'm just fucking with you. It's Wind Waker with a score of 21. Soundtrack, fire. Gameplay, fire. Graphics, fire. The only real things I deducted points for were replayability and the story. And they're both connected, let me tell you why. If I was to write a mini review here for Wind Waker, it would go like this. Dragon Roost is amazing. Forsaken Fortress, not so much. You're giving me the third orb? Thanks, I guess. Temple of the Gods. Ooh! Earth Temple, medley. I liked you at Dragon Roost, but now I kinda hope one of those fucking annoying tornadoes gets you and tosses you into the stratosphere. Wind Temple, Makar. If you didn't know violin and played an absolute bop in that little cave you sit in, I'd throw you into Dragon Roost. But, you know, you do, so I can't. You know, it'd be too tough. The hardest pass in any Zelda game goes to finding those damn Triforce pieces. And, you know, Puppet Ganon. Need to say more? Alright, we're gonna move on. At number 5, scoring a 21, we have... Yes, it's a sound that comes to mind anytime we know we have a deadline coming up. Majora's Mask was the first game that I played and beat, and I love it. It's my personal number 1. From being able to switch between Zora, Deku, Scrub, or Goron, and regular Link, to having actual side quests, such as defending the farm from aliens, and yeah, like I said, actual side quests, Breath of the Fraud, collecting 50 mushrooms or 10 bundles of sticks. Suck my ass. Majora only really got hit on graphics, replayability, and soundtrack. Compared to the top 4, I couldn't give those scores any higher than a 4. At number 4, we have A Link Between Worlds, also scoring a 21. The story in the game is great, and morphing into walls is such a unique concept. Items are fun to use, and the gameplay is peak Zelda. That top-down formula just works so well. Personally though, I don't care for the look of the game. I'm unsure if it's the 3DS or just the style they went for, but I mean, Link's got bananas hanging down from his side of his face. Ugh, I mean, it just like every character looks a little bit off. I mean, except you, Dompe. You look about as good as you ever did.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer? Every night.
Alright, any guesses at the top 3? Put them in the comments section now so I can see them. And roast you when you're wrong. Coming in at number 3, we have Link's Awakening. Or was that a dream I had? Anyway, scoring a 23, the soundtrack, gameplay mechanics, graphics especially for the Game Boy that, you know, made even Tetris look like ass, and the story, the game is a masterpiece. You get invested in the characters, and at the end of it all, you're left with a decision. Do you enjoy the island and go about your business, chatting with new friends and expanding relationships, knowing that that isn't the right thing to do, or do you sacrifice it all because it's what needs to be done? Not often do you get hit with philosophical questions in the Zelda series, and damn is this a tough one. At number 2, scoring an almost perfect 25. I couldn't give it a 25 though, I'm sorry, call me, you know, I don't know, call me a pogger or whatever the hell you kids are saying nowadays, I don't know. It's the game that probably got you into the series in the first place, if you were a young kid or teen in the late 90s. Ocarina of Time. I mean, what can I say about this game that hasn't been said 100 times over? It's one of the best games ever made. It set the bar for all other Zelda games after it. The story is great, the soundtrack is great, gameplay is smooth and crisp, you always feel in control of Link and everything he does. While not my favorite game of the series, it's the one that I have replayed and beaten the most. Is there anything to complain about when it comes to this classic? What? Water what? Oh, that. Yeah, I mean, the swimming mechanics are a little janky, but I mean, it's N64, people. I don't know what the hell you expect. Finally, the number 1 spot, and the only game that I gave a perfect 25 out of 25. Let me get a drum roll. Here it is, the definitive best Zelda game to ever grace the earth, Triforce Heroes. Oh, shit. That was the wrong script. That was actually number 1 worst. Let me try that one again. At number 1, we have A Link to the Past. I mean it when I say this. The bar was set in 91, and even though I do enjoy a few games on this list more, I don't think any of them surpass Link to the Past in these 5 categories, in my opinion. The only close one I can think of would be soundtrack with Wind Waker and possibly story with Skyward Sword. The game just hits on everything it tries. Fun weapons, great dungeons, cool side characters, great bosses, great enemies, a well put together story. I mean, come on, the Dark World. Conversations stop there. Link to the Past is at the number 1 spot, and if you disagree, I mean, have fun collecting your 50 mushrooms. I don't know what to tell you. I hope you all enjoyed my list. Remember, this was made with science, and science is always subject to change, Senku says. So maybe I'd give these scores more or less on a different date, and I do want to say this, in no way do I hate Breath of the Wild. Great game, I loved it. I'd sunk 220 hours into it, even though I got fucked at the end. But, I mean, it's a great game. There are just so many things missing from it in my opinion, and I'm willing to do a full analysis as to everything I think is wrong with Breath of the Wild. But, and you know, if you want to see that, leave that in the comments, and I'll get started right away. Promise. I won't take 2 weeks like usual. For now though, I hope everyone has a great day. Stay safe. Fuck you, Hestu.